If it's in Hampton Roads, it's on the Hampton Roads Show.
Welcome to the Hampton Roads Show on this Thursday morning. Good morning to you. We have a great show planned for you today. Chef John McClure from Trade Winds Restaurant in Virginia Beach. He's going to make blackened Atlantic salmon with mango salsa, sweet potato mash, and a delicious creme brulee for us today to celebrate Virginia Beach Restaurant Week.
And they love to tell people how to dance. Coming up in this morning's I Am Hampton Roads, you'll meet a father and son duo that share the same passion for an age-old way to have fun, square dancing.
And our friends from Chesapeake Bay Academy are back to share some great strategies for students and parents about studying smarter, not harder, when it comes to those big tests.
Oh, studying.
Thank goodness I'm not a part of that.
No?
Studying smarter.
Anymore?
Yeah, you know, I had so much test anxiety when I was a child.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Did you cram or?
I was a crammer,
Yeah.
up all night, and the next morning, you know, not feeling my best, but
Yeah.
I was, you know, not totally satisfied with the results. However,
Wow.
you know, when the exam was really big,
Yeah.
you know,
You
there was a lot of anxiety.
had nerves. What about you?
I would do both. If it was like a major exam, I would take a little bit more time because there's no way I would be able to cram it. But some nights there have been. I was really involved in college with band and everything. We would have practice and games till who knows when. So
Yeah.
some nights I had to cram. And like you said, it just takes its toll on you.
Did you spend time in the library? Is that where you did your best
Oh,
studying?
no, it was in the dorm room.
Really?
In the
I
dorm
spent
room,
most of the
yeah.
time in the library.
Yeah.
Nice, quiet location.
Exactly. If I was going to get anything done, I had to get away from
Yeah.
distraction, which was really, really hard. I was always a crammer, always a procrastinator. Things didn't work out so great
Yeah.
in college because of those things, you know. So we're asking this morning, you know, what kind of studier are you, and how do you help your kids? You know, my kids are only a kindergartner and a preschooler, so they
Right.
don't have lots and lots of studying to do. But, you know, when it's time for them they had to learn their address and their phone number and things like that, you know, they always liked a little song. You know, if we kind of put it to a tune, they remembered it, you know, better. So I think those are the kind of strategies that Chesapeake Bay Academy is really good at, you know, those kinds of little accommodations. And, you know, I make jokes about not being a good student, but I've told you guys, at 39 years old, I was diagnosed with ADD, so it all makes a lot of sense now what went wrong, you know, in school. But some of those, you know, some of the traditional methods didn't really work for me, and I had no idea that I should have tried something different. I think it's great that our children today, there's so much more awareness of the things that can get in a good student's way and things that can be done. But we're just kind of curious. Were you the all-nighter? Were Mountain Dew and No-Dos your friends when you were in school?
A lot of coffee.
Or did you break it down and study little by little and, you know?
That's ideally the way to go, is to try to stay ahead of that night before, but easier said than done.
Reinforce what you learned every day.
You know, flashcards was a big help too. That's how I studied a lot. If I had to memorize something, I would have flashcards. They were, you know, easy to access in the purse, go through them. And my dad helped me a lot. My dad was the type that would sit down with me and explain it versus, you know, here's the answer. You know, I was like, well, why? And a lot of times I didn't want to. I was like, can you just give me the answer, Dad? And he was like, no. Do you want the A or the B? Chose the A.
Chose the A.
Yeah.
We'd all like to be able to choose the A.
Yeah, well, moving on to our next hot topic, it has to do with Mattel and Barbie, of course. Barbie's been an astronaut, a news anchor, a nurse. I mean, pick pretty much any profession out there, and she's done it. Well, now there's a big movement on Facebook. Actually, yesterday, the page was up to 16,000 fans, but they're pushing for it right here. You can see Bald Barbie. They're pushing Mattel to come out with a Bald Barbie to raise awareness for children that are cancer victims. And mother on board, she lives in Texas. She's on board with the idea because her daughter, who's 7, she's battling kidney cancer and it's spread to her lungs. Mattel hasn't responded to the movement yet, but in 2006, Mattel and the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation did come up with a pink ribbon Barbie to help raise money for cancer research. But it just goes to show, are you on board with the idea? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think Mattel should come out with the Bald Barbie and that it's going to send a great message to young girls dealing with cancer, have an image to look to that if they're bald, Barbie's bald too, because all of the Barbie dolls now, you know, have the long, pretty locks. So it's just kind of another way. And it'll be interesting to see what Mattel does or if they come out with it. But on Facebook, it's gotten a lot of fans, likes, or whatnot. So
I like it.
Do you think it's a good idea?
I would definitely hit like for that. I think it's a great idea. I'm not so sure how popular of a sales item it would be, but however, if you do collect Barbies, there's one for you.
Well, and I mean, it could start one of those conversations, even if it's not for a child that has cancer. You know, you've had a good friend who's fought the battle. I have a good friend who's fought the battle. When she lost her hair, you know, children were, I won't say they were the worst, because I mean they were just being children, but children are the ones who say, how come you don't have any hair?
Yeah.
You know, to a woman who's, you know, bald. And Betsy was always happy to explain it to them, because she has a great rapport with children. She's a teacher and, you know, a swim coach. So it didn't bother her, but it might be good to, like, teach children, you know, if you see, you know, a lady and she's bald or she's wearing a scarf, maybe, you know, it could be because she's sick and her medicine makes her hair fall out.
And who's to say, I mean, it is geared for, you know, children, but who wouldn't to say a young woman wouldn't want to have that bald Barbie? It might make a big difference. And, you know, just, I don't know. I think it's a but idea. It'll be interesting to see.
I don't see any downside to it.
Yeah.
I think it is a good idea.
Though
More
some
good
say,
can come from it.
But it opens the door, you know, to all the variations of, you know, Barbies they could make. I think they have made a Barbie doll that's a wheelchair user. You know, they could do any number of things with it, or they could just give her a realistic waist, and that would make her relatable to more people.
Well, I mean, you'd like to be able to pick your Barbie and her Barbie size, but our next hot topic is probably one of the truly great mysteries of our life, and it's when you think about being a parent, you always wonder what that child will be. That's the great mystery. And this is not new, but there is a company in China that says that they can help you choose the gender of your child to like 99%.
And then your president will be bitten by the president.
Yeah, and somehow the president comes into play. But the thing is, the question is, if you could choose the gender of your child, would you? Would you choose the gender, or would you like to keep it a mystery? Of course, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah,
because it's not cheap.
We're not talking about finding out. We're talking about, would you choose?
Yeah, exactly. Would you choose a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, in China, they would choose a boy because, you know, women are frowned upon.
It's 99.9% guaranteed that they could give
90,
you.
up in the upper 90s, yes.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, I think having children is a natural way, and I know there are, you know, women out there who can't have kids, but for me, if I knew I was able to bear children and I think just, you know, whatever I'm blessed with, boy or girl, I just hope that the baby's healthy. So I don't know that I would, I'm not going to have the money, one, probably, two. Right. I just think that I'd like to have it the natural way.
Plus, I mean, you know, if in order to do that, they have to create several embryos and then pick the ones that are boy or girl, and the others, what happens to the others? And that's really a moral dilemma for a lot of people. You know, but then you look at families like the Beckhams who had, you know, how many boys before they had their daughter, and, you know, but who knows if folks would go so far as to actually make sure it happened.
They have one boy and one girl.
Yeah, or if people financially can only afford 2 children and they really want one of each, they probably couldn't afford this, this procedure.
Right. Well, I mean, anyone who can't have children, the help of fertility drugs is great.
Yeah.
To help them. The question is, would you go that extra mile?
But this wasn't just to help people have children, but to help them have the sex they want.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, to help that sex.
Hey, you know what? Another way to get the sex you want: adopt a child.
There you go. All right.
Pick your hair and eye color and everything.
There you go. So we're talking studying, we're talking bald Barbie, and choosing your child.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Let us know what you
in one
think.
day.
Send us
Join
your
us on
comments. Yeah, on Facebook. You can see there. That's our page. Getting comments already. And also following us on Twitter at HR_show.
A lot of choices today. And we're choosing great weather.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bonus day.
So if you have to go study, go outside. That's a strategy.
There, I mean, you know, some folks really like cool weather. They're not loving this. Some folks, you know, the snow lovers are just, you know, last 2 years they were spoiled. So now they're emailing me saying, "Where's the cold weather? Where's all the snow?
Keep the cold weather.
Not here. Not today."
It's in Cordova, Alaska. That's where it is.
Great benefits
it
to
is.
mild
Yeah,
winter. I mean,
definitely.
energy costs are down. I mean, this is good.
Yeah, that's true.
This is good.
The
I like
problem is going to come probably in the spring when the insects are going to be out of control because there's nothing stopping them. And matter of fact, they're probably sitting in there brewing right now. And unless we get some huge cold wave, we may see some problems with that coming in the spring. I'm not an entomologist, but just based off the things I've witnessed over the past, 10 years and kind of paid attention to it, mosquito control may be a big issue coming up. So
Yeah.
that's something to look, at in the future.
I think I saw one the other day.
I wouldn't
What
be
are you
surprised.
still
I
doing
thought I
here?
saw one last week myself. So
Yeah.
usually this time of year where they're gone. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Anyway, let's focus on the positive about it. Apologize for
Okay.
that, but just a little bit of a note.
Mosquitoes.
And so
Yeah.
today, it is going to be nice to get out. I'm going to the park myself a little bit later today. Temperature's going to top off low to mid 60s, partly cloudy and breezy, but that's the only negative we have. Tomorrow the winds change direction, so the temperatures change. 47 for the high, partly cloudy. Got lows going in the 20s going into the weekend. Highs will be in the lower 40s. I've lowered that Sunday number to 41. I may lower it even more, maybe even seeing highs in the upper 30s. Big contrast to today's weather, yeah. Let's take a look at the pop quiz for today. Here we go. A large place with animals. It's a gimme. It's a gimme right there. Old English way to say near or close. An inland community and spelled same as a Southwest tribe. That's a Southwest U.S. tribe for those that need that. But put those together, see what you got, thehamptonroadshow.com, submit your answer, and good luck to you.
As I head over to the kitchen, you guys tell them what they can win today.
All right. Well, if you know the answer, today's winner is going to receive a Napoleon Dynamite prize package from the new Fox animated series, which premieres Sunday night at 8:30 on our sister station. That is Fox 43.
All right, we're in the kitchen today with John McClure, executive chef from Trade Winds Restaurant. John, what are we cooking today?
Today we're doing a seared Atlantic salmon with a house-made Cajun rub. And we'll top that with a mango salsa. It's got some grapes in it, a sweet potato hash, and then a creme brulee for dessert.
Yesterday, I asked for my own dessert to be named after me because the ladies have their own dessert. So instead of creme brulee, crisp brulee.
There you go.
Crisp brulee today. It's worth a try. I mean, come on.
A
Somebody's
new
gotta
twist on a classic.
because I'm so sweet. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. That was lame, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks, John. All right, we're going to get started in just a minute with John.
All right, we'll look forward to that and still ahead on the Hampton Road Show. Do you have a knack for working out the kinks and relieving stress? You may want to consider a career in massotherapy. Coming up, we'll hear how you can get started as we chat with the folks from the Casey Riley School of Massotherapy. And then sometimes when you hit the books, they tend to hit you back. Our friends from Chesapeake Bay Academy are here with us today with some great strategies for smarter studying.
We're in the kitchen today with John McClure, executive chef from Trade Winds Restaurant. John, tell me what we're making and give me a little idea of what we have in front of us.
Okay, the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to sear our salmon. This is an Atlantic salmon fillet with the skin removed. We're going to season that with a house-made Cajun-style rub. And the procedure is similar to the classic blackening technique that they do down in New Orleans. You want to put a little bit of oil, olive oil preferably, in a saute pan and let that come up to a medium-high heat. And you'll start to see a little bit of a haze come off the oil, and that's an indication that the oil is ready.
You just started it. It didn't take long, did it?
No, it does not take long.
Okay.
All right? We're going to carefully put the fish fillet into the hot oil.
On top of the seasoning.
Right, because we
Yes.
want that
Season the
seasoning
top.
to kind of form a crust, as well as the heat will cause the oils in the dry spices to release more of their flavor.
Uh-huh.
And again, you want to sort of swirl the oil around, use just enough oil to keep it from sticking.
And we can already see on the bottom of that fillet, it's already starting to turn white, so it won't take very long, will it?
No, no, no. Fish doesn't take very long at all. 145 degrees Fahrenheit and fish is done. Some people prefer to cook it a little less, but anything over 145, you have a tendency for the fish to dry out.
Dry out.
Okay.
Don't want that to happen. Okay, so what's next in the process there, John?
Well, we're going to turn the fillet over so we get a sear on the other side. You can see how you've gotten a nice caramelization of the spices, and it's sort of darkened up a little bit. And we're going to let that cook for maybe another 35-40 seconds, and then this could either be put on a tray or a sizzle pan, or in this case, this saute pan will go directly in the oven.
And something tells me this is a good way to cook just about any fish, right?
a fish that's got some thickness to the fillet.
Right.
Flounder, not so much.
Right.
But tuna, rockfish, mahi-ma, dolphin fish,
right,
all work well in this application. All right. So I think that's probably got enough of the coloration on there, and then we're going to put that into the oven.
You set that on what?
I've got that set at 375, which is you want it to be a hot oven.
Yeah.
375, 350.
For about how long?
That'll take about 8 minutes.
Is that just going to finish the cooking process in the middle?
Exactly.
Okay. What else we got, John?
Okay, the next thing I'm going to need your assistance on.
All right. What can I do for you?
We're going to assemble the mango salsa. As you can see, I've got the different little components of the recipe.
What do we got here? Mango, grapes,
red seedless grapes, sweet bell pepper, both green and red onions, little scallions, some cilantro, lime juice, jalapenos, and grated fresh ginger.
A little sea salt there as well.
And a little bit of olive oil.
All right, so just mix it together?
Just mix it together.
All right. You know, I tried this the other day, and the first thing I did was dump a bunch of seeds into it, so you got to keep an eye on me.
Okay.
All right.
Go with the grapes.
Go with the grapes. We got a little mango. And all the pepper?
All the pepper.
All the pepper.
You want to make sure you cut your vegetables all about the same size, again, for presentation purposes. Also, cutting them small is going to allow the flavors to come out the longer this sort of sits and kind of all comes together.
Well, you know, it looks awesome. It looks really, it's got all the color to it. Now we get down to the interesting part, the ginger.
Ginger, let's go with all that ginger.
All the ginger. And got a little jalapeno here, so.
Okay. I like spicy food, but let's go with half to start.
We'll go
with. Always
half.
add some more later.
That's true, and you would mix it together.
Mix it together, and
Okay.
we're going to put a little bit
Add
of
a little salt.
Salt in there.
Great colors with this, John.
Okay. And then a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And with this, like so many other relishes and salsas, it really needs about 30 minutes in the refrigerator before you go to serve it.
Right. And that just brings it all together?
Exactly.
Okay.
This is a little bit of lime juice.
This, you know, how important is that final touch with the lime juice? Does it just give it the citrus taste to it?
Yeah. This, you know, a fruit salsa, in my opinion, needs a balance between sweetness,
And
acid,
tart.
and then certainly some sort of savory or non-sweet type ingredients. And that's why I use the onions and the ginger to give it a little bit of a bite.
That looks awesome.
Okay.
Okay, Trade Winds is taking part in the Virginia Beach Restaurant Week as
Yes,
well,
we
right?
are.
What do you guys have on the menu? Is this one of the items?
This is one of the items which we're featuring both for lunch and for dinner. We're also featuring a couple of steaks, one a bistro steak at lunch and then a small filet mignon at dinner. We're featuring our she crab soup as an option.
Right.
And then 4 nice desserts, one of which we'll see later on.
You know, a lot of people are really excited about Restaurant Week, especially in Virginia Beach. What about you chefs and the restaurants? Are you guys excited about this?
Absolutely. It gives you an opportunity to showcase your restaurant. And it also brings in a lot of business at a time when typically, you know, it can be slow. And it also allows people to go out and try different restaurants that they may not have tried before, and then hopefully come back sometime later.
That's the whole idea behind Restaurant Week. John McClure, we've already cooked the salmon. We're going to go with what's next? Crisp brulee?
Crisp brulee and the sweet potato hash.
All right, we'll get started on that in just a minute.
All right, well, academic success in school depends on how well you study, especially when it comes to performing on those big tests. Joining us now with some great study strategies is Danielle Melee. She's the Clinical Director of Assessments from Chesapeake Bay Academy. Thanks for coming back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Carrie.
This is a topic that so many people can relate to, especially children with, you know, who have the SOLs coming or, you know, just unfortunately you just can't avoid that at some point you're going to be tested on what you learn, so you have to study. study.
Absolutely. And preparing for those big cumulative exams can feel completely overwhelming, like SOLs, SATs, things like that.
Yeah.
So there are some things that you can do to help you, defeat that test and feel confident when you go in there to take the test. The first thing I would say is actually something you guys were talking about earlier, which is to plan ahead. You really want to start studying as soon as possible, as soon as you know that the test's coming up, and come up with a plan of how often you're going to study, for how much time, and break it down into smaller chunks. That makes it much more manageable and also increases the chances that you're going to actually remember what you study.
Some people may worry that if they study too far out, they'll forget again. Is that, in your experience, have you found that necessarily to be true, or have you found that if you get the information in the right way, it'll stay in?
Typically, if you really learn the information and get it in there, it will stay. Now, I wouldn't start studying for an exam, 6, 7, 8 months out, unless it was something massive, like a licensing exam for a medical doctor or something like that.
Right.
But typically, if you know a big test is coming, if you can start studying 3, 4 weeks ahead of time, that's great.
Yeah.
The other thing that time allows is for you to look through the material and say, okay, I understand this, but I don't understand this, and get clarification and help. One of the things I always tell people is, go back over your homework if it's an in-class exam, go back over previous tests if it's an SAT or an SOL, look at the versions of the tests that have been released and go through them just to get familiar with the structure of the exam, the way questions are worded, things like that. And again, then you can go for help if you need it, if you don't understand something about it.
Other than waiting too long to start studying, cramming, the things that all three of us taught, except Ariane. I think Ariane said she was the planner. Chris and I fessed up that we were crammers. What are some other pitfalls or mistakes that people can make when they're studying?
Well, one of the things that happens is people study for too long. Now, I know that sounds contrary to what I was just saying, but they try to sit down and study for 3, 4 hours straight. That's too long to study because you're not going to really learn what you're going over. You're not going to remember it. So you want to study in small, manageable amounts of time, 20, 30 minutes, then take a break for 5 minutes, and then get back to studying. It's important to build in break time, build in time to, get a drink, get something to eat, things like that. So that's one of the mistakes that people make. Another mistake people make is not monitoring what they actually know. There's something called metacognition, which is thinking about your own thinking and knowledge, and that's something you need to do throughout. You need to really monitor, okay, do I really understand what I just read? Do I know what it was saying? Or, am I confused? Well, a great way to do that is just by quizzing yourself, writing questions in the margin of your notes, and going back over and asking yourself those things. So those are some mistakes.
Especially if you're a college student, all that money you paid for your textbook, write in it, it's yours. Let's talk about test day. You've studied, hopefully, you've planned, but you're still afraid that you're just going to blank out when it's time to take the test. Let's talk about strategies for the day of the test.
Well, like they always say, get a good night's sleep, have a good breakfast that morning. If you want to review your notes beforehand, you can. What I would suggest you review at that point is if you've come up with any acronyms. An acronym is something like, Roy G. Biv, that helps you remember the colors of the rainbow, or an acrostic, which is like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, to remember the order of operations. When you sit down and you get to that test, you want to write those things down immediately on a scrap piece of paper that you have. Or any formulas, anything that maybe you've memorized verbatim that you know you're going to need and you might forget as you go through, write that right away before you even look at the exam. So that way you have that to use and reference. And then you go through, do easier questions first, leave the challenging ones for later, mark questions that you're not sure about to go back to, things like that. And just, if you feel like you're starting to freak out, stop, take some deep breaths, and try to, regain your composure.
So if there is a choice the night before between doing a little more studying, and I mean, not talking about the cramming, but just if your choice is another hour of studying or another hour of sleep, what is going to benefit you?
Well, I would actually say split it down the middle. I would probably study for about 30 minutes and then get that extra 30 minutes of sleep. And here's why. Research has told us that when you study or read right before bed, you're actually more likely to remember that information. So that last 20, 30 minutes of reviewing your notes might actually really help you in the end. Now, if we're talking about the difference between getting 6 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep, I would want to go for the more sleep, but it is important to review your notes at nighttime. Another tip, A good time to review notes also is when you're at the gym. Research has shown that when you're exercising, you're actually able to learn and remember things a little bit better, which is interesting.
All right, so prop that notebook up on the treadmill. Any truth at all to putting your notes under your pillow, though?
No, you cannot learn by osmosis, not yet. You know, with the iPad and technology, who knows? So.
Right, there's hope. Thanks, Danielle. For more information, you can check out the academic blog School of Thought, or give them a call, or visit Chesapeake Bay Academy online. The number is 497-6200. The website, cba-va.org. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, in the Buzz Center with my man Chris. So you have a dish named after you, Copycat.
I do now.
You had to like.
Thanks to John.
All right.
He's getting all the credit.
The salmon arion was delicious yesterday.
Yes.
But we're talking back with our hot topics this morning, starting with the bald Barbie that a Facebook group is pushing Mattel to come out with. Now, Mattel hasn't decided. They haven't said anything whether or not they're going to do it, but there it is right there, just to show that, to raise awareness for kids dealing with cancer. Wanted to know if you think it's a good idea or not. Holly Barber says, personally, I don't see anything wrong with the issue. Anything that promotes awareness and acceptance with kids on an issue like this is a good thing. PJ Hunter says, do it. Spreads awareness way beyond just bracelets and t-shirts. Good job, Mattel. Now, Mattel hasn't decided whether or not they're going to do it, but if they do, you know, of course, everyone would be on board, I would assume. And then Jesse says, I'm personally on the fence about it. On one side, I'd want my daughter to have an innocent childhood as far as possible. On the other side, she'd learn at an earlier age about the pains of life, but I do, however, think it is a good idea. So Jesse, he's kind of on the fence about it, but at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, you know what? It's a good idea. Why not?
Talking about the pains of life, before you even get to that point in the Barbie, there's a company that says they can guarantee the gender of your child to like 99%. So we're asking you today, would you choose the gender of your child if you could? Lori says, where do we draw the line on trying to play God? Becky Dowd, no. With many couples having fertility issues, I'm happy I was healthy enough to carry 2 wonderful children and wouldn't change it for the world. So right there, they would not choose.
Yeah, Holly says, nope, I like surprises personally.
Yeah, it's one of the great mysteries of
life. Now,
life.
some people do want to know whether or not it's a boy or a girl once you're pregnant.
A little different.
You know, that's fine, but I just want it to be a surprise.
Yep.
So, but you know, either way, we'll see comments. And now, so you just heard Carrie talking with Chesapeake Bay Academy about studying. What are some of your studying strategies, really quick? Jesse says, I studied to classical music ahead of time through most of the day. Then I'd stop, work out, and go back to studying. The evenings are for my girlfriend. Go ahead, Jesse.
Danielle gave us great advice, but I'm freaking out thinking about a test right now.
You're all right. No test here.
Okay.
All right, stay with us. Looking for a career change? Well, you may want to give some serious thought to massage therapy. Up next, the folks from the Casey Riley School of Massotherapy are here with the details on how you can get started in the right direction.
And don't forget our pop quiz. You could win a Napoleon Dynamite prize pack from the new Fox animated series, Napoleon Dynamite. Just log on to HamptonRoadshow.com and click on the pop quiz button on the top right-hand corner of your screen.
You sent Chris back.
Kicked him out. This is the girls' corner.
Hey, if you've ever thought about taking up a career in massage therapy, the Casey Riley School of Massotherapy is the place for you.
Absolutely. The school offers several different programs and, of course, hands-on training, which is key, which you're going to see from one of their massage classes in this next segment. I'm here at the Casey Riley School of Massotherapy in Virginia Beach, where I'm sitting with Education Services Manager Dawn Hogue, who's going to tell us about some of the school's training programs. Dawn, good to be with you again.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Talk a little bit about what massotherapy is, just in general, to start with.
Massotherapy is a term that's unique to our school, and it really describes the massage therapy technical training and then some. We use that term to really relate to the healing art aspect of training someone to be a massage therapist.
And so you start off at the head, your butterfly stroke.
So we have our 700-hour massage therapy training program, and we start that 3 times a year. That provides training both in the anatomy, pathology sciences, as well as the hands-on training that a massage therapist needs to really be successful in the field.
Right up and along.
We're very proud that, we have a very small student-to-teacher ratio, and in fact, you're going to see some footage of one of our signature massage classes. We call it the Casey Riley Massage. That is the foundation of the training that we teach here, and is a routine and a technique that is trademarked for our school, actually.
You notice a couple things with regards to body mechanics. One, the back is straight, but I'm only looking down when I have to focus on where my fingers are going. Once I've got that feeling, I can bring my chin upright keeping my spine and neck straight. And now it's just focusing and tuning into what I'm picking up around the client's shoulder. And as we come over the top again, you're not only feeling, but finding and releasing with those good, deep, specific circles. And as you make your way around the scapula, you can do it again, but one time usually suffices, so full palm effleurage smooths it all out.
We do offer federal financial aid. We have a financial aid coordinator who's available to answer specific questions about individual situations. We also offer a number of tuition assistance programs for active duty military, retired military, and spouses of active duty military.
Remember that learning is going to happen at your pace.
We love to give people tours of our campus and of the school, and to let people sit in on a class and try it out and see, if that feels like that's going to be a good match for them. It's a big choice to make and a big commitment to make too. So we want to make sure that our students are well prepared, well informed, and just well aware of what they're getting into.
And lastly, Dawn, what do you want your students to walk away from the school when they go out into the work field?
Yeah, that's a great question. First and foremost, we want them to feel professionally prepared. We want them to feel like they've got the techniques and the knowledge and education to be successful in the field. And we want them to feel personally prepared too, personally able to deal with issues that clients are going to bring to them, that client-therapist relationship. And we want them to feel confident in the skills and the experience that they've had.
All right, the next massage therapy program starts next Tuesday. That's January 17th, the Casey Riley School of Massotherapy. You can give them a call, 457-7270, or just visit edgarcasey.org/massage school.
Do they need people to come in and let people practice?
It took everything in me not to be like, do you guys just need a model to just lay?
700 hours of training.
The schools like that, I've been to one before, they're always looking for people to come in and just to try it out and test it out. So that may be an option for you. All right, still ahead on the Hampton Road Show. It's one of the cheapest forms of entertainment out there. Yes, when we come back, strap on your skirt and kick your heels, because we're about to take you into the world of square dance calling next.
And then we'll check in with Chef John McClure from Tradewinds Restaurants to see how he's doing on his blackened Atlantic salmon. Looks great. Welcome back. We're in the kitchen today with John McClure, Executive Chef from Tradewinds Restaurant. We've already cooked up the salmon, and now, John, what are we getting to?
Okay, now we're going to start on the starch, which is a sweet potato hash.
Sweet potato hash. So you're going to mix up sweet potatoes and what?
I'm going to mix up some onion and bell pepper and sweet potato and fresh thyme. You could easily add anything else that you kind of had a fancy for.
Now what is that you just put in there with the oil?
Well, this particular recipe calls for some bacon, which is cooked off, and you save the fat that renders out of the bacon. It's optional. You don't have to use the bacon.
Right.
You could use Smithfield ham, chicken, if you wanted to put a protein in it. Once that starts to heat up, I'm going to add my onions. And let those onions cook till they start to soften.
Listen, so let's talk about the Tradewinds Restaurant and how beautiful it is. If you've never been to the Tradewinds Restaurant, get there early enough to see the sunset, because it's right over the bay. You've seen many good ones, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. We're right on the Chesapeake Bay. We've got a great sunset and a great sunrise.
Yeah.
And a full view of the bay looking north.
So you also have a great breakfast too. So.
Yep, we're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we also do a full Sunday brunch every Sunday, as well as the big holidays.
The one great thing about your job, John?
Working with my hands, never having to wear a suit and tie.
There you go. The one worst thing about your job? Clean up? You don't do that.
Well, never say never.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Always have to.
I guess, not everybody approaches it with the same passion that you would hope they would.
Right.
You try to, get the most out of everybody.
Right.
And so sometimes that can be, a challenge.
Okay. John, you're working with your hands. You've added the bell pepper.
Right.
Uh-huh.
We're going to let that again, just cook for a couple of minutes.
Look, the onions look pretty soft.
Right.
And I guess it's time for the starch,
Now
right?
we're going to add the sweet potatoes.
Seems like this is a pretty good complement to salmon and the mango salsa.
I think so. Sweet potatoes, you know, in terms of a starch, because of the color in the sweet potato, they're a little bit more healthier for you, I think, and they're very popular. And you can get local sweet potatoes all year round.
Did you have to prepare them first? Sweet
What's
potato?
that?
Did you boil them or anything?
No, you're going to wash them and peel them, and
Right.
then parboil them a little bit, which I did just to speed it up here, but it's not necessary.
Okay, so we don't run out of time. I'll help you with that, and don't forget about the dessert,
Okay.
the crisp brulee.
The crisp brulee. Okay.
There you go.
Just
Gotcha.
want to keep stirring that.
Gotcha.
I've taken the creme brulee
Mm-hmm.
and made the custard and cooked it yesterday and then let it cool in the refrigerator overnight. This is a two-day cooking process. You want to make the custard ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator overnight so it chills completely. It will keep about 3 days in the refrigerator,
Right.
but not much longer past that.
Add anything else over here, John?
Yeah, go ahead and add a little bit of that fresh thyme,
Okay.
a little bit of salt and pepper.
Gotcha. Keep on working, buddy.
All right.
Keep on working.
Okay.
Working with those hands.
I've set the oven on broil, and we're going to, I've coated it with a 50-50 blend of granulated sugar and brown sugar, and we're going to put it underneath the broiler to caramelize.
And through the magic of TV, John, how does it work out?
How does it work out? Here's the magic of tea.
Check this out. And we have a new name for that dish, right, John?
Crisp brulee.
Yay! Thanks, John. Appreciate
Decorated with
that.
a little bit of a raspberry sauce, some whipped cream, and fresh raspberries.
Not that I'm fruity at all. All right, we got the bacon sitting over there. Should we add that?
Yeah, let's
All
add
right.
the bacon.
Let's add the bacon. All right. And you know what, John? We're just about out of time. So it looks like you're getting started for one other thing real quick.
Well, we
What do
don't
you
have to. You want to do want to plate up?
You know what? We'll have time to plate up right at the end of the show when we're going to give it a taste test. I have a feeling it's going to be really good. Hey, the Trade Winds Restaurant in Virginia Beach, they are part of Virginia Beach Restaurant Week next week. Go in and see John. More than 50 participating restaurants. For more information, call dineinvb.com or call 422-4420. John McClure from Trade Winds, great job, and looking forward to the big taste test at the end.
All right.
Smelling good.
Back in the bus, he was so jealous of your salmon area
I know.
yesterday. Now he's got his crisp brulee.
Whatever, Chris.
All right, people are weighing in on all of our hot topics today, including good study habits. And Louisa said when she would study, she would read and rewrite things over and over to memorize them or further understand the topic. She said flashcards sometimes were helpful, and she believed in, you know, what Danielle was saying, taking a break every now and then coming back to studying so she could test herself on the subject that she was studying and see what she remembered most or least to know what to go and study further.
Flashcards were a help. Chrissy Ann Lloyd on Facebook, she says all-nighters. And Candice Torres says, I did both from time to time when I was in school. If I took notes and paid attention, I really didn't have to study until the day before, but if it was something that I did not pay close attention to or I didn't fully understand, I would have to get and study way beforehand. Like if it's a huge test, of course, like SATs and you know, ACTs, that you would study for ahead of time, but like little, I guess, pop quiz, you really can't study for a pop quiz. But little simple quizzes.
I recall those tests and classes where I did do well. It was the note taking that put the information in my brain more so than the note reading.
Because 9 out of 10 times what you were taking notes on was exactly what was on the test. A lot of people don't realize that.
Or just the act of writing kind of solidified it a little bit more than just reading them.
Also talking about Bald Barbie, that this Facebook group has like more than 16,000 likes already that they're pushing for Mattel to come out with it to raise awareness for kids dealing with cancer. Wanted to know if you think it was a good idea or not. This comment from Melody, she says, as a mother of a child born with cancer, I think it is a breakthrough if they actually do it. She says we've been fighting to have more childhood cancer awareness efforts. She says every time Breast Cancer Month rolls around, her friends turn their pages to pink for breast cancer awareness. She says, I fully support the efforts to prevent breast cancer. I'm so happy to see a glimpse of something for childhood cancer. this is a great idea and a great start.
Yeah, and
So-
there's, you know, you don't never want to feel like these different illnesses and causes are fighting for the same dollars, but this is something, you know, the baldness unfortunately happens to everybody who goes through chemotherapy,
Yep.
so this is something, you know, pretty unifying. I think it's a good idea,
Yeah.
too.
All right. Thanks for sending us your comments, though. Coming up, it's one of the best kept secrets out there. We're talking about square dancing in this morning's I Am Hampton Road. You're going to meet a father and son duo who show us that the age-old form of dance isn't what it used to be.
Ooh, look at that. Here comes the salsa. Wait for
yet.
it.
Wait.
Denied.
There we go. Derek.
Fooled again.
He's like, I'm not, I didn't even know he's on TV.
Asparagus.
Like,
All right.
Not the boss of me.
Time for this next segment. When it comes to sticking with something that you love, well, this father and son duo that you're about to meet is a perfect example. Combined, they have more than 50 years, 50, experience as square dance callers, and they are each other's biggest fans. Say hello to Bob and Matt Worley in this morning's I Am Hampton Roads.
Dark clouds are gone and the blue skies are mine. Looks like the sun's gonna shine.
I sort of grew up with it in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we did contra and what is called traditional square dancing. And then later on I became interested in Western style square dancing. We were dancing with a club that our caller left, and there wasn't anyone left to call, so after a while I decided to try it. And of course the bug bit me, and I've been doing it now for like about 35 years professionally. I would teach classes, and he would go with us to class and play on the back of the stage, and I would go and practice my square dancing. He'd go to the room with me and sing along with me, and when he was 4 years old, he stood on a Coke case, crate, I guess, and did his first singing call. And he hadn't looked back since.
I do remember he was teaching a class, and they needed an extra man, and there was no one around, so you're going to dance. Up I came, and I started dancing, and really started falling in love with the music. And when he would be up on stage, it was great to see him perform, and I just would sing right along with him. And I remember the very first time that I did get up and do my very first singing call, and I couldn't really remember the sequence of how everything would go, so he would kind of coach me, and he would go, okay, 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 and break. And
many of the terms that we use, the ordinary person wouldn't understand them, like star through, California twirl, slide through, relay the doozy, swing through. These are all square dance calls. We teach these calls individually and then put them together in some type of a sequence. We get you on the floor, put you in a big circle, and tell you who your partner is and say, join hands, circle left, start the music, and you're dancing.
Well, a lot of people think of square dancing as, you know, just country western music, but no, we really evolved over the years. We do disco, Dixieland, big band. Even the style of dress has changed a lot. A lot of the ladies still do wear the dresses with the petticoats, but now a lot of the ladies just wear long skirts, or some even wear pants. We don't really care what you wear, just as long as you're there.
You have to like people, maybe, let's say, love people, and you have to be a ham. You have to love what you're doing in order to get up there and do that.
When you're there, swing through. If it's just a square of people, or if it could be 100 people, 1,000 people, if you're calling to, it's the adrenaline just starts really pumping, and I love the thrill.
Matt is my favorite caller. I love to work with him, and that's the most enjoyment that I get out of square dancing at any time is when I'm on stage working with him.
If any caller that I get a chance to work with is always fun, but it's always something special when you can work with your dad.
I'm Bob Worley.
I'm Matt Worley,
and we are Hampton Roads.
That's awesome.
It's fun. Hey, they also started Crown Records as their label in 1989. They've released more than 100 records with 16 national and international square dance callers on their label. And you can find more information, crownrecords.net. We'll have all of that information in the story on our website.
That explains the bling.
That explains the crown, and he had a Crown Records belt buckle. I said, you go, Bob. Go with your bad self.
The whirly twirlies.
Yes.
All right, that's neat to see. How about that? All right, well, I don't have any square dancing moves for you, but I've got some 4 clues for you. A large place with animals, the first clue. Old English way to say near or close. And inland community, and spelled same as Southwest tribe. Any idea on this one?
Nah, nothing's coming.
In the southwestern U.S., there's the Zuni tribe, and so it's spelled the same as Zuni. Zuni. Yeah.
Very good. All right. When you come back, we will be over there.
And it's close.
Yes, stay with us.
Community Beach Restaurant Week is next week. John McClure from Trade Winds. This is great. You want to try it for sure.
It's delicious.
Thank you for having me on.
Good job, John.
All right, thank you for coming. Thanks to our friends from Chesapeake Bay Academy, too, for sharing their great study tips. We'll put more information on theHamptonRoadshow.com. That's where we'll be until tomorrow when we come back for Live Music Friday.
Yeah, I want to thank Bob and Matt Worley, too. Get your square dance on.
Chris Brulette.